Welcome everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Reardon and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about possibilities. Now, if you remember last episode, we talked about obstacles, limiting beliefs, how to get over that. And this is going to be a similar episode, but part 2 of the process. Because if you understand that there's limits, so someone said you can't do something, you tried something, you failed, you created a limit for yourself, or someone has created that limit and you bestowed it into yourself. So what happens more often than not with limiting beliefs is that it's a fear, a doubt that was created and you just believed it. What happens after that is typically inaction to change it. What we do here at Reven Concepts is we help people get over their limiting beliefs, help them live life full of purpose and find happiness and fulfillment. But it doesn't come by sitting by the waysides. It comes through action, sometimes hard work and dedication to get them to the place where they can see that limits are optional. So if limits are optional, what is the word? Well, the word is going to be possibilities. What is possible instead? Because many people are going to think it can't be done until someone shows them and proves them wrong that it can be done. Now, if you are a person that believes that something can't be done, for example, diving deep down into the ocean, I'm sure there's people in this world today who think it's not possible. But then there's a person who creates a submarine, a scuba tank, a scuba suit, a whatever, and they say, look, I just did it. Oh, we can't go to the moon. Oh, we can't go into outer space, but yeah, people go into outer space all the time. Someone did it. What was seemingly impossible at one point in time is now just another Tuesday, another Thursday for people. What is the difference? How do we get to that point? Many people are going to think, well, the reason they got to that point is because they were persistent. Yes. Persistence can be an aspect to success and growth and you achieving things. But more often than not, most people don't do things that they know are impossible. For example, let's say someone was trying to do a backflip or something, right? They just failed, they failed, and they said, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. They keep doing it, and even though they failed multiple times, hundreds of times, whatever days, weeks, years it took, they failed and they failed and they failed until they finally got it. Dan Millman. I love the story of the peaceful warrior. We're going to be talking about a lot of stories today because today is going to be a Wednesday episode, and we're going to be talking about the power of possibilities, and the best way to do it is through story. To show you that other people's wisdom and knowledge and experience can be used so you can understand that what is possible in the mind or what is possible in others' minds might not be as far-fetched as you may be believing. Because when we look at the story of Dan Millman was a gymnast. He was in college and he wanted to go for the gold. He wanted to go for the Olympics, and he had a routine. He was really good on the rings, probably the best in the class. But he knew something deep down inside that he had to do something different, something that no one has ever done before. And if he couldn't do it, then he wouldn't be successful. He wouldn't be the Dan Millman that we know today. But there's more to Dan Millman than what he has accomplished on those rings. It is more of a backstory, who he was before those rings, who he was before a coach and a mentor, the person who helped guide him to the truth. Because we are told by our coaches, by our parents, by our teachers, just do this and be great. But what if you want excellent? What is excellence? How do you achieve that? Because everyone's over here trying to be okay in life. Everyone's over here trying to be okay and comfortable, trying to find the basis of what happiness is and fulfillment. And yet they can't reach it because they set the bar too low. And I would rather you set the bar extremely high and fall short, because you still are going to live your life in abundance above everyone else. And this is not about a competition or being competitive to other people. It's just understanding the mindsets and the complacency level of people. People don't think things are possible. They don't think highly of themselves. The self-doubt, the self-talk, the amount of negativity, the amount of drama we give ourselves every single day, that's mostly self-instilled. No one said to watch this documentary that's going to make you feel like garbage at the end of it because you're comparing your life to theirs and you're saying, wow, this person did this at what age? And then you're comparing. That was Dan Millman before he got his coach. He was in constant competition with his people. Even though he was the top dog, everyone wanted to be that top dog. And he was like, you're not going to catch me. It was constant competition. And when you're in competition like that, it's a good thing, right? Competition can be a good thing. It can drive you, it can help you focus. But sometimes there could be unhealthy competition. So he was trying to do everything he can to be ahead of the pack, to separate himself, that something only he can do at this time. And his coach would say, hey, just stick to the basics. You do great. And you can be something with what you have. You don't have to do any of these crazy stunts that you're trying to pull. Just show me what's normal. Well, Dan said, I understand, coach, right? Basically, this is him talking to himself, I'm sure. And he said, no, coach, I'm going to keep doing what I think I can do. And regardless of what you say or what anyone else says, I'm going to be great. But yet he found many difficulties because he had to fight all the negativity around him. All the people saying that it's not possible, it can't be done. No one has ever done it before. Sure, Roger Bannister had the same type of friends around, coaches around, scientists around, doctors. His heart's going to explode if you do this. But he did it. Dan Millman even had an obstacle along the way. He gets in a motorcycle accident and he shatters his leg. Not just breaks, it shatters. They have to put screws and bolts and metal plates to keep his leg together. His recovery process wasn't easy, wasn't smooth. It was painful. What hurt the most was not the accident, was not the pain of having to take pain meds because his leg is healing. It was the people who he thought he could trust the most betray him. The doctor said, you'll be lucky if you can walk again, let alone run, let alone be in the Olympics. Let that dream die. You heard what the doctor said. Do as you're told. Do as what the doctor says. Well, luckily for Dan, he had a great mentor, person he confided in, person he worked for. And not work for as in money, but learning, wisdom. What was that? He gained it. During that time of him healing, he understood how to be humble. He understood how to live in the moment. It was something that his ego beforehand could not allow him to see. What was possible was only a mirage. He said, I can do this, but he wasn't equipped to handle what he wanted to do. His mindset wasn't there. And that is a secret to success. You can have a great amount of success in your life, but let me tell you a secret. Not everyone's going to be able to reach it if they have the wrong mindset. Now, the wrong mindset doesn't mean the mindset that is against your thinking. It is the mindset that is conducive to what they're trying to accomplish. So the goals that they give themselves, the aspirations that they have, the vision that they're trying to fulfill and create and make a reality, that right there requires a mindset of dedication and discipline and integrity. We talked about all of this on the podcast. And the reason why we need to understand that is because there are going to be people who you trust, who you confide in, and they're going to tell you that something is not possible because of circumstance, because of statistics, because of facts, because of their life experience, or because of a professional's word. Oh, doctor said that this can be done or this can't be done. So we need to listen to every time a doctor says something, or a scientist. Look what happened with Dr. Fauci. All those people who listen to him, where are they now? Yeah, maybe some are in a better place, but many people are in more fear now than they were when he was telling them what to do. The doctor said to Dan, hey, you can't, be in the Olympics. You can't run. You can barely walk. You need a cane. His coaches heard from the doctors, took it to heart and says, okay, he was a good guy. I'm not going to let him hurt himself because I know what type of ego he has. But Dan did the work to get rid of that ego. It was a journey for him. Getting rid of your ego was one of the things that I believe every male should do when they're around 17 to 19, and just understand it. Now, you need some level of ego in order to be successful, but there is a difference between an arrogance ego and then ego that's humble. Of course, there can be different types of ego, but I think the distinction between those two are going to be relevant to today's conversation. A humble ego is going to help us understand that, yes, it is possible, but it's not going to be easy. What happened with Dan was everyone was saying, oh, poor you, pity party. And he could have said, poor me. He did say, poor me. He went through that depression. His dream was crushed. Your dream was crushed. What are you going to do about it? And the only logical thing to do is to get up again. However, he has a hard time getting up because his identity as his leg was also shattered. Who he was, who he built himself to be, was no longer the person that he knew or that he thought he could become. So what he thought was possible was no longer possible for him. The doctor said, I can't do this. Coach said, I can't do this. All their friends said, listen to coach and the doctors. But yet his mentor says, well, what do you want? What do you want to do? What would you like to accomplish? What is your dream? And then he says, I want this. And it was no longer a fantasy, a boy's fantasy. It was a man's dream. It was his goal, his aspiration. He would die trying to get there. And so they began the training. They began not the doctor's ordered rehabilitation, swimming, upper body workouts, things along those lines. Sure enough, long story short, Dan was able to accomplish his goals and be in the Olympics. It was not an easy journey for him. He had to go from being the top dog where everyone was chasing him to being the person that everyone pitied because he would not reach his potential. He would not reach his dream. He would not be in the Olympics. But lo and behold, he was. What stopped Dan from being a person that gave up? What stopped Dan from being a person who would have a pity party, be addicted on painkillers and alcohol because he's depressed? What stopped him? And the answer is a coach. Basically, his mentor was a mindset coach, a life coach, whatever you want to consider him, a guru, a Socrates, person who can open your mind in a way that you do not understand. Many people understand that they can do great things in their life, but they truly don't believe it. They have a idea. Oh, this can be done. I know people can do this, but for me, it's a no-go. It's a red zone. Stay away, right? How many people do you know have given up on their dreams, have given up on their livelihoods because of the onset of bad news or hardship or fear? More than I can count, because that is the reality for many people. Life with possibilities, or what is possible in life. I often ask myself this question because it helps me with my mindset. It helps me become stronger in mindset, because I can look at the greats, right? Like Tony Robbins is the biggest, maybe life coach in the world. I don't know. There's other great coaches. David Goggins does a great job coaching, life coaching. Simon Sinek, he's a great thought leader, also coach, business owner. That's the same aspect, right? There's also more great people doing great work. I will say that even though the competition is fierce, right? The competition can be fierce all it wants to be. However, just because the competition is fierce, it doesn't mean I should shudder and say, oh my goodness, I don't look like I can ever be number one. Well, if you say you can't be number one, then it's probably true. And that leads me into my second story. A boy was talking to his mom, and this is an old video. I probably showed it in episode 70, maybe earlier, where a young boy was talking to his mom after watching a movie, probably like a train movie or something. And it's like Thomas the Engine or whatever. I think I can. And he finally does it, right? Because he thought he could. And that thought of him just thinking was enough for him to say, all right, I'm going to see this through. But it didn't happen with him saying, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And he does it. All the other trains were looking at him saying, oh, you can't do that. You're just a little train. You can't do that. And sure enough, he shows everyone that he could. And then the respect followed. Oh, look, it's Thomas, right? Everyone's so proud of him. Maybe they all ate a piece of humble pie. But what happened after that movie? That young boy talked to his mom and says, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. He said, I can do this. And he did it. So if we can teach that to young individuals at an early age, if you think you can, you can. That might change the world. It can change the whole dynamic of education. However, education is not interested in your possibilities. It's not interested in your capabilities. It's interested in what you can do to continue the system. When we look at it that way, they don't see what you're capable of doing, what is possible of you. They just want the standard. And the standard is easily attainable. Most jobs today, they require at least a high school education. But yet, the people who don't have high school educations, I'm not saying everyone, because I know people who should get a high school education and is going to help them. But that's a different conversation. Who make it big, right? People who have no degree and they're like, okay, I'm going to get a GED, or maybe they don't even get a GED. And they're just like, I'm just going to go start a business. And they do, and they're successful. What is possible might not be what you can get at school. So where do you get it? Well, you can't rely on doctors. You can't rely on friends. You can't rely on the system. So all that is left is someone that can see the potential within you. Because if you can't see it, if you have doubts, if you have fears, if you have limits, you need somebody who can see through all of that negativity, all of that doubt, and pull that person that you can become out to show the world, to show yourself. How can someone show you the best version of yourself? What would that entail? What would that look like for you? Would it be an investment, a financial commitment every single month to be in the best place mentally, physically possible? And physically, not just meaning you look good, you're in shape, you go to the gym, but physically you're living in the house that you dreamed of owning and building. You did that. You are in the physical location that you deem necessary for your life. Now, of course, materialistic goods are materialistic goods. So you're going to get the house, you're going to get the car, and you're going to be happy for 15 minutes, maybe a week. But after all of those accolades fade away, you're going to realize, how did I get here? Those are questions you should always be reinvesting in, asking yourself, always looking at again, because you're going to find that you got there through hard work. When I was in college, I took on a lot of classes. I worked full-time in a part-time job, and I'm not saying everyone needs to be like me, but I will tell you the after effect of me doing all that. When I finally graduated and I was a teacher, I said, I can't believe I did all that. That's insane. I guess I was insane. Or I just understood if I put my mind to it, then I can do it. And I understood it was possible because I know people have done it. And maybe no one has done it before. But I said, it doesn't sound that bad to me. David Goggins, when he ran his 24-hour race or something like that, you're supposed to have, I guess, teammates for that race. He ran it by himself. And he didn't take a break because he thought he just had to run the race through. The fact that he didn't know any better, right? He didn't have the limits placed on him from other people. He just said, well, I thought that was the expectation. So he made it possible because he said that is what needs to happen. That is what everyone else is doing. So why can't I do it? The mind is so powerful because if you say something can be done, it sure as hell can be. It might not be easy. And I think this is where people get caught up because they think that if it is possible, it should be easy. But sometimes in life, the things that are worth having are the most difficult to attain. Why do you think a loving relationship, I'm not going to say happy because happiness is dependent on the individual, not the marriage. Why do you think there's marriages that fail, marriages that succeed? Is it because of possibility? Is it because of fear? Is it because of doubt? What is it? I found in my marriage that possibility is something that we hold near and dear to our heart. We are mindset junkies. I know I'm more of a mindset junkie than her, but she still understands her mindset very well when she's not showing up. So she will coach herself, or she'll ask me to coach her, where she's like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. What do you have to say about it? Something like that. Family members, they call me for advice. Hey, I'm going through this situation. What would you do about it? I say, okay. What would you like as the result? We begin to see what's possible. But it didn't begin with me saying, oh, you're in a tough situation. I don't think you're going to be able to get out of it unscathed. I simply say, what is the outcome you would like to have? They tell me the outcome, and then we can look at some of the obstacles. But if you can think it, you can have it. So you might be thinking you want to have a harem of ladies if you're a male. Maybe you're a woman, you want to be a boss babe, CEO, big company, get paid a lot of money. It's very possible, easy to do actually. And then you might want to be a person who just wants to be a family person. Money is not really an option. Raising a family is. That is what you want to find. And you might try to start that family, but no go, miscarriage, no go, no go, no go, no go, no go. Doctors say, it's getting kind of late. You're getting older. It's probably not a good idea to have kids. What do? You can have kids. It's possible. People have kids all the time. I have a kid. What is possible? We know is possible. But for you, what's truly going on? What I can tell you is that there's been stories, medical stories, of people thinking they have cancer, have all these issues, tumors, etc. And sure enough, they go in for the MRI. Nothing is there. But in 5-10 years, it starts to form and develop because you have been putting your attention there. Your physical body can be a mental sickness. Your physical ailments in your body can be a mental illness. The reason why things are happening. So if you are not confident in having a kid, especially again after again, trying after trying, you're going to have some doubts. Any standard person would. Any person who has grown up in the system would. I failed. I must not be good at it. It must not be for me. You leave it up to fate. And then you tell yourself a lie and you label it as the truth. But what happens is the possibility that you had, you relinquish. And then it no longer becomes viable because the mindset is powerful. However, if you gave yourself a determination, I'm going to get better. I'm going to heal. I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to have a family. I'm going to start a family. It might not be easy. The process might not be simple, but there's an option for you. There is an alternative. Most of the time, that alternative is going to be a lot of self-work, both mindset, physical, and then you can build your body back up. Now, there's going to be limitations that we do have to understand. For example, if you're a lady, you get your ovaries removed because of a genetic issue, cancer, then it's going to be difficult to have a child of your own. Now, if you save some eggs, of course, you can get the sperm, you can get a surrogate mom, and you can have a child. It is still your egg, still your husband's sperm. You can do that. There's possibilities, all right? It might not be your dream. I understand. You wanted to experience the pain of childbirth. You wanted to be in the hospital, hold the baby for the first time and say that you delivered this baby, you brought this baby into life. Now, you do have a part in that baby's life, but it's a little bit different, maybe for the feeling. What I can tell you is that the people who hold their baby for the first time after surrogates, they are full of love and joy, not only for the mother or for the woman who gave birth to the child, but for the baby themselves too. Because they say, this is what possibilities can bring. Science did that. Medical advancements did that. Even though sometimes medical advice can be contrary on the borderline negative side. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And sure enough, you get to make a choice at the end of the day. You get to listen to what people say, or you get to choose for yourself on what the outcome is. And I encourage you to find the outcome for yourself. Yes, other people might have failed before, but it doesn't mean that you can't be successful. We can learn from people's mistakes. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time we want to drive. I always say this because it's important to understand that we can use people's progress, wisdom, knowledge to build ourselves even more. The reason why we advance in technology is because there was someone who made some advances in technology previously that we needed in order to make the next advancement. Think of a staircase. The staircase has many stairs. Most people want to get from the bottom of the staircase to the top of the staircase. That is what success is for them. I just want to be successful. I just want to be on top of the staircase. When the best approach to reaching the top of the staircase is to take the first step. What is possible? When you are overwhelmed, when you're overstimulated, when you are full of fear and doubt, and you're just thinking that you can't do it, what is something that you can do? The easy answer is take the first step. Can you see the first step? If you can't see it, that's the work you need to do today. What is possible? Most people, they live life understanding the possibilities, but they don't understand what truly is possible. They don't understand human potential. They don't know their full capabilities. They don't know that they have a power within them that is lying in wait in dormancy. And the only thing they have to do is call on it, is whisper to it. They say that richness can be loud, but wealth can be a whisper. That whisper is oftentimes in the sense of a possibility. What can be done? What should be done? And then at the end of the day, how do you set it up? And I can't tell you how many people I set that up for all the time, because it's important that we realize that possibilities are something we go for. No one said it's going to be easy. You might have failure after failure, month after month after month, and you're going to start doubting yourself. When that happens, you have a choice. Keep on going. What is the outcome we're trying to get? Maybe do a pivot, maybe do a small altercation. And I always say that the path that we're on might be a windy trail, but it's going to lead to the best views. So we all want those best views. We all want that level of success. How do we get there? A step at a time. And though we might trip on some steps, we might stumble. It doesn't mean we give up. It doesn't mean that this is the wrong path. As I said, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve great things. Many people are having a hard time understanding that they can achieve greatness because they have been told that mediocrity is adequate. So I don't want you to live a mediocre life, a complacent life. I want you to see life for what it truly is, full of possibilities. My name is Michael Reardon. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I'll see everyone in the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.